All right, we should be streaming by now. Hi, I am your Heavenly Father, Kevin Williams. I'm just getting set here. Jack Smith, the special counsel in the one of the Donald Trump crime cases, is just about to give a press conference. He actually did a couple of minutes ago. I just have this pause, so I am going to cue this up so that I can see you guys as well. If you'd like to get in on the chat room over there, all you have to do is do it on whatever platform you're using, whether that be YouTube or Twitter or whatever, Facebook. You make the comments, it gets propagated over there on the side where the blue is. So let me find you guys here. I usually, the fastest way to get the comments through is off of YouTube. I am pulling that up now. Hi, Tracy. So Tracy is here, and we will be going with this in just a second. Are we live? It looks like we are live. At Random is here. So yes, we're live, and I will pull this up. Give me just a second here. I'm literally doing this in real time, as I do all things. It is not letting me get in. There it is. Now I'm in. YouTube seems happy. We are good to go. Hi, Todd Stubler. Jessica, nice to see you. This is Jack Smith, special counsel, investigating former president, twice impeached, once indicted already, Donald Trump. Let me make it so that I can hear it as well as you guys hearing it. Again, I just walked in, so here we go. Let's see if I've got it in my ears. Here we go. Let's go back. Not a political case, but here we go. I don't expect it to last long, by the way, but we will be going on to other things. After this is over, I'll stop down, and then we'll go back, and that'll be a few minutes so I can eat my lunch, and we'll come back. Are we not hearing them? Hold on. Sorry, I'm coming back. Let's do it again.
Here's Jack Smith at the podium.
All right, can we hear now? I think we can hear, yeah?
The special counsel. Let's
You guys don't know Jack. Here we go.
listen in.
Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with felony violations of our national security laws, as well as participating in a conspiracy to obstruct justice. This indictment was voted by a grand jury of citizens in the Southern District of Florida, and I invite everyone to read it in full to understand the scope and the gravity of the crimes charged. The men and women of the United States intelligence community and our armed forces.
Hold on a second. That's Hunter Biden wearing a beard. Oh my God, guys! This was supposed to start playing as soon as I said that, and
dedicate their lives to protecting our nation and its people. Our laws that protect national defense information are critical to the safety and security of the United States, and they must be enforced. Violations of those laws put our country at risk. Adherence to the rule of law is a bedrock principle of the Department of Justice, and our nation's commitment to the rule of law sets an example for the world. We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone. Applying those laws, collecting facts, that's what determines the outcome of an investigation. Nothing more and nothing less. The prosecutors in my office are among the most talented and experienced in the Department of Justice.
Trump haters.
They have investigated this case hewing to the highest ethical standards, and they will continue to do so as this case proceeds. It's very important for me to note that the defendants in this case must be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law.
There you go.
To that end, my office will seek a speedy trial in this matter, consistent with the public interest and the rights of the accused. We very much look forward to presenting our case to a jury of citizens in the Southern District of Florida. In conclusion, I would like to thank the dedicated public servants of the Federal Bureau of Investigation,
with
whom my office is conducting this investigation, and who work tirelessly every day upholding the rule of law in our country. I'm deeply proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with them. Thank you very much.
Why Florida, sir? Why did you decide to bring the case in Florida?
So there is Jack Smith.
Okay, of course he's not going to answer any questions. Come on, people. Let's keep going with this. I'll come back later and I will read. That was really short, and to the point, and exactly what you'd expect from Jack Smith. Not that any of us has heard of him before all of this started, but yeah, this is there's one set of rules, and those rules have to be adhered to, and that's what we're doing. And then even throwing in that Donald Trump is innocent until proven guilty. It doesn't say Trump specifically, because of course Trump's body man is also, well, body man, but not a guy who's going to stay out of prison for very long is the case. Stephanie says, at least I got to see it. Thanks, Kevin, on the road to pain management. Good job, Stephanie. Yeah, don't talk about tennis during any of this today. The French Opening's happening right now. The French Opening is opening. It's currently opening. I don't want to know if it opens or not. So no spoilers there. It happens like at 2 a.m. our time. So no talking of tennis, please, for producer Joanna. First off, let's get the reaction on Fox News. Then I want to go to earlier, the immediate reaction to when the indictment was unsealed. And then later, I'll come back and we'll actually read the indictment. So that's going to be something.
This is the first time we...
Marcy raises an interesting question. If convicted, special prison, will it be home reprimand? How do you work out prison with the Secret Service? It's never been done before. I mean, he'll have to be in some sort of solitary but not confinement. Will it be minimum security? He's not a flight risk. But he has to be punished and restricted in some way. His phones have to be taken away from him. Is it just you're staying at home in Mar-a-Lago with an ankle bracelet and no electricity? Like, what is cruel and unusual punishment for Trump? I don't know. We've never crossed that Rubicon before. Speaking of crossing the Rubicon, what I loved yesterday from his trusty attorney yesterday on CNN, used the Rubicon and then referred to the Roman soldiers and didn't mix metaphors. And that I truly appreciated, especially from somebody representing a Republican. And then this morning he quit.
We've heard from him, the
This has just been really enjoyable these past couple of days.
special counsel.
And it will be enjoyable until the case gets in front of Judge Cannon, who's the same one who stopped the FBI temporarily from getting a look at the documents in the first place. This would have already happened if not for Judge Cannon. She was overruled by an appellate court, and the FBI was given access to the documents which belong to the people, not to Donald Trump. Tom Finnerty says, force him to live with one of his kids. That is cruel and unusual. Even I would not do that to the man. Apparently, Ivanka, just listening to a little bit of the indictment on the way back and forth in my journeys today, just listening to a little reading, I'm guessing that Ivana is the family. Ivana might be involved as well. That's probably where the documents are hidden. Ivanka, I believe, is family member number one. I don't know that for sure. 2 of his lawyers are in there, a couple of staffers, and family member number 1, I'm guessing, is Ivanka. I don't know that for sure. I've just heard snippets, but we'll read through it later and we'll try and suss it out. And if we don't, so be it.
Who has just brought a 37-count indictment.
I have also heard several different number of indictments. First 31, then 37, and then multiple, and 31 might just be the indictments in the Espionage Act. Now, keep in mind, the Espionage Act is about more than just spying. It's about keeping national security secrets safe. So you don't actually have to be a spy. I don't know if it's Jared. If it is Jared, it's even worse because Jared was never able to get security clearance at the top secret level.
Federal criminal charges against former President Donald Trump. With that, we
it'll be fun to figure out who the family member is.
Want to bring in John Turley, GWU law professor.
Turley's the one that I've got earlier. Let's go back right now. Let's see if Firefox lets me do this. Turley's coming up right now. This is a couple of hours ago, so you can see 2:08 p.m. Eastern time. This is happening back then, and this is Fox had a prosecutor on first saying, "Ooh, this is really bad for Trump," and now Jonathan Turley, who's usually all about, well, this case is ridiculous because the president has all these powers. Let's hear what Turley has to say.
Or don't play.
Yes, at random, Turley is just awful, but let's hear what he has to say after just browsing through this indictment.
A ball with them. The president goes on to say, wouldn't it be better if we just told them we don't have anything here? Well, look, isn't it better if there are no documents?
Yeah, so Trump asked, apparently, he asked one of his or both of his lawyers early on, wouldn't it be better if we just had no documents, if we told them we didn't have any documents? That shows the intent of obstruction, but it's not. You're allowed to ask your lawyers questions like that. That's not a crime. If you're asking for legal advice from your lawyer, what happens if we just ignore the subpoena? Your lawyer will give a response. It's bad, of course, but it's not a crime. So you can't hang your hopes on that. There's got to be a lot more than that. Once the actual actions take place, once you ask your lawyers to lie to the DOJ, to the FBI, which apparently, then that's bad. But just asking the questions, not bad. Because the lawyers are the ones that are supposed to know the rules.
You know, they've got these.
First we'll listen to Jonathan Turley, and then we'll head over to Truth Social and see what's going on with our friend Donald Trump.
Conversations that were memorialized by the president's attorneys. There's also this recording of him where he talks about this plan that's believed an attack plan against Iran. I mean, they've got a lot of information in this, Jonathan.
No, it is an extremely damning indictment.
It is Jonathan Turley, ladies and gentlemen. It is an extremely damning indictment.
There are indictments that are sometimes called narrative or speaking indictments. These are indictments that are really meant to make a point as to the depth of the evidence. There are some indictments that are just bare bones. This is not. The special counsel knew that there would be a lot of people who were going to allege that the Department of Justice was acting in a biased or politically motivated way. This is clearly an indictment that was drafted to answer those questions.
And it won't make a damn bit of difference to those on the right.
Overwhelming indeed.
I support President Trump no matter what. Who's with me? Who stands with President Trump no matter what?
Details. And, the Trump team should not fool itself.
I mean, if it turns out that Biden accepted bribe money in return for we don't know what, then yeah, send Biden to jail. No matter what. I don't support Biden no matter what. I don't support anyone but my family members no matter what. And even then, not the girl.
These are hits below the waterline. These are witnesses who apparently testified.
Hits below the waterline, of course, is a reference to, that's how you sink a ship. You hit it below the waterline.
Under oath, gave statements to federal investigators, both of which can be criminally charged if they're false. Those witnesses are directly quoting the president in encouraging others not to look for documents.
That's not hearsay, by the way. If a person tells you directly something, if it's them saying that, that's not hearsay, that's an admission.
Or allegedly to conceal them.
Good question. At Random asks, is it the waterline before or after the pool was drained?
It's damaging. And the key here to keep in mind is that every case I've ever been involved with, the indictment was a heart stopper. These are written by lawyers who are trying to convict a client. Every indictment I've ever dealt with has fallen apart to some degree once we look more carefully at what the evidence may be. But this is not an indictment that you can dismiss. There are a lot of people who are testifying under oath, and they're saying highly incriminating things with regard to these charges.
Just want to say we are about to see more of the president on his travels. We'll certainly listen for him to take any more questions.
I haven't heard. I don't know if Biden's taken questions or commented on anything since this broke a couple of hours ago. He won't. If he does, it will really, really surprise me, because that has never been the way that Joe Biden has operated in his 175 years of public service. Let's go over to back to Almost Live. Here's Turley again, after having about an hour or two to reflect on this.
And constitutional law attorney and Fox News contributor, Nicole Parker, former FBI special agent who is based in Miami, and John Yoo, former deputy assistant attorney general, now a UC.
Thank you, Jessica. Biden apparently just said, I trust Jessica on this. He had no comments. Thank you, Stephanie, as well. Of course he said that, because he's a decent human being. That's exactly what you're supposed to say. Yeah, Trump has a thing in Georgia tomorrow, and we will be watching. Unless it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, because no.
Berkeley law professor, great to have all of you with us. Let's get your first impressions of what you just heard from Jack Smith. And Jonathan, let's begin with you.
Well, Martha, I thought the most interesting aspect was at the end when he said,
everyone is innocent.
We're going to work hard towards a speedy trial. Now, of course, criminal defendants are
Trump will delay.
Guaranteed a speedy trial.
However, if it stays in front of Judge Cannon, and they're allowed to judge shop, and if they do, that's what it'll all be about. It's about judge shopping to get a favorable judge. But they can stay in front of Judge Cannon. The problem, the reason that perhaps Donald Trump will not be convicted is not the case. It's not in the case itself. It's if there's one maggot, if there's one citizen of Macedonia on that jury, they will not convict no matter what. And you'll either end up with a hung jury or a mistrial or whatever. But yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult to convict Trump. I'm sorry, guys. I really am. But that's just the fact of the matter. That being said, they were able to get one, possibly two grand juries to vote to indict, which is not as high a standard.
They almost always waive that because defendants need time to prepare a case. The government has possession of all the evidence, obviously, that they're going to present. Some of that the defense may have or may not have. But it's clear that the prosecutors would like to just stick with a speedy trial schedule, which would mean that they could try the president before the next election. That's unlikely to occur. Most defendants, and I expect the former president will be among them, waive.
This is what I saw earlier as well. Tom Finnerty announcing that Health Ethics Committee just reopened its investigation of Matt Gaetz. That'll go nowhere. But yes,
a speedy.
It's a Republican House. They might strip him of committee assignments, but they won't.
Trial.
Keep in mind, Matt Gaetz and every single Republican member of the House holds the keys to the castle when it comes to Kevin McCarthy's speakership. That is what he had to agree to in order to win the speakership in the first place.
To allow them greater time to look at this evidence. This is a lot of evidence. These are a lot of witnesses, a lot of photographs, and
it's not that much.
The defense has to,
but it's in front of Judge Cannon. If it stays in front of Judge Cannon, she will let them abide.
Deal with every one of them. Remember, the Trump team has to run the table here. They can't leave any counts. They have to defeat every one. They've got a 76-year-old client. And any one of those counts, if it lands, can cause up to 10 or even 20 years in prison.
You know, Nicole, let me bring you in, because one of the things that caught my ear in the beginning of this statement from Jack Smith, he said this is a grand jury based in the Southern District of Florida that brought forward this indictment. Now, it's worth reiterating for everybody at home that a grand jury has about 19 to 26 people, something in that range, but they only need to have 12 that say that there's enough there to move forward with these indictments.
Typically, yes.
So talk to us.
We could, anyway, yeah.
About the significance of this trial, this process taking place in Florida, which is now Donald Trump's primary residence and is a place where he won presidential elections for the state of Florida twice.
That is correct. First of all, I just want to make it very well known. I was an FBI agent, here in the Southern District of Florida with the Miami Division of the FBI. I have never worked this investigation.
I don't know who this is.
I have never seen any evidence in this case, and I just want to make sure that's fully disclosed. I did not work this investigation. I work violent crime and white-collar crime. Based on what you're saying, yes, this is the Southern District of Florida. The judge is...
I haven't mentioned movie night, but yeah, probably.
Is appointed, from what I understand.
You know what I want to watch? Movie night is a movie called Saving Silverman. Haven't seen it in years, but it's hilarious.
And right now it's Judge Cannon. I've worked with many of these judges over the years here in the Southern District of Florida. You are dealing with outstanding judges. The jury is going to be selected from Miami-Dade County. This is a county that a lot of these people come from countries where they don't like to see political retribution. That is what they ran away from. A lot of people from, Cuba, Venezuela, things of that sort. If they see something that they think might be politically based, they're going to probably take that into consideration.
John,
okay.
Thank you for being with us today. It's interesting to listen to Jack Smith talk about, and he's fresh to this case. We've all been through the history of James Comey and Hillary Clinton and the damaged servers and all of these other cases that have some similarities here. But he says,
damaged servers? By the way, there's very little similarity here between Hillary Clinton and what's going on in this case. Practically none.
That any disclosure of these documents puts our country at risk. He talked about the commitment that law enforcement and elected officials have to uphold with keeping all of these confidential. We now know that, the list goes on of vice presidents, current president who have brought these kind of documents home. And he says that we will
not a crime.
Commit to the rule of law, and that he wants to make sure that everyone understands that that is the standard that is at stake and that no one's above the law.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
What's remarkable, Martha, about Jack Smith's statement is that it ignores all the serious...
Oh, yeah. So down here in the corner, right here, let me, for those of you watching on your phones, let's see. Do I have a close-up? I don't have that. Do I have a... Here we go. Okay, that is the wrong display. Give me just a second, because I think I can change this pretty quickly. Just a second. Properties. Here we go. How about this one? Yeah. So, right there. That's the white and gold ballroom, because they're creative with their names, at Mar-a-Lago. Okay? That is the stage at the white and gold ballroom. Those are boxes, some of which had classified documents in them. They were sitting on the stage in the white and gold ballroom at Mar-a-Lago for months. For months. The general public can apply for membership and rent the white and gold ballroom for bar mitzvahs and weddings and social engagements, quinceaneras, if they so choose. Those are boxes just sitting out there in the open. At least Hillary kept things in her bathroom. There was no server in the bathroom, by the way. There's no evidence that Hillary had a server in her bathroom. I mean, if Joe Biden was renting out his garage for bat mitzvahs, they might have a point. Wow.
Constitutional separation of powers and political issues.
Marcy says Mike Pence's grand jury testimony is going to be released and unredacted because he's been blabbing about it. Interesting.
Many of which you just mentioned that surround this case. If you listened to them, you might have thought that they had just arrested a DOD employee who took documents home and then didn't want to return them. There's no mention of the fact that there are very serious presidential power issues here. For example, this is the first time, as you've remarked earlier, that we have ever indicted.
No. The presidential powers are pretty clearly defined by the laws that the DOJ happen to know, and they also have a recording of Trump admitting that he understands how those laws work. But okay.
For federal crime not just a former president, but the leading candidate of one of the major...
Irrelevant, completely irrelevant that he is running for office. Has nothing to do with anything. He is not above the law because he is running for office. Otherwise, hell, if I get a speeding ticket, I'm going to announce I'm running for office. It's complete nonsense. I don't know this guy. I already don't like him. This is just obfuscation.
Political parties in the upcoming campaign.
Yeah.
It doesn't mention
Doesn't
who's
matter.
responsible for this decision.
Does
Under the
not
Constitution,
matter.
you can't just say, oh, this special counsel made the decision. This decision is ultimately made by the Attorney General and ultimately under the Constitution, the President of the United States.
Well, no. There is a separation between the president and the special counsel and the DOJ. Now, Merrick Garland would have had to have been notified. The special counsel is responsible for notifications anytime there's something major that happens in the case. There's a special term for it. And the special counsel at that point could step in and say, no, don't indict him. Or just let it be. It's as I understand it, I was never in that branch. I was never in any branch. Ever. The Attorney General could step in or just let it go by. The same as the Supreme Court says, yeah, we're not going to listen to that, and the lower court stands. So we don't know exactly what happened in this case, but we do know that Merrick Garland, if procedures were followed, he knew of this happening. But there's no indication whatsoever that Biden would have been made aware and should not have been made aware. So this guy is just talking nonsense.
Who's responsible for enforcing the law, but also happens to be the main candidate of the incumbent party that controls the government, and they're using these charges to go...
The main candidate of the incumbent party who controls the government? What? This guy has no idea what he's talking about. He's a UC Berkeley law professor? Producer Dojo, didn't you graduate from Berkeley with some kind of poli-sci degree? Oh, dear.
Go after their primary challenger.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I wish this guy was my professor. Oh, my God, I would have gotten a D in that class, but I would have had a blast. Let's listen to him some more.
Ultimately, under the Constitution, the President of the United States, who's responsible for enforcing the law, but also happens to be the main candidate of the incumbent party that controls the government, and they're using these charges to go after their primary...
But there are multiple branches of the... Okay. I guess he missed the 2022 election? Hasn't heard of this Kevin McCarthy character? I don't know.
Challenger.
Yeah,
These are serious issues, and you wouldn't know that from Jack Smith's comments.
No, you wouldn't. And, it's almost too
Because all of it is irrelevant.
too large to articulate clearly here what we're talking about, what is at stake in this moment. And Jonathan Turley.
Yeah, here's another. I'll go to a close-up again for those of you watching on your phone. Here's just some... Oh, my God! I hadn't even seen this one. It's a bathroom with windows big enough for a human being to get in and out of. He had boxes of containing classified documents in a fucking bathroom. Everything they accuse Hillary of, they're doing. It's a bathroom. It's to the point where Donald Trump is going to take his mugshot in a pantsuit. Oh my God. This is the greatest day.
I want to bring you back in on this.
Oh, he's just a Trump hater. They're going to say, yeah, I do hate this guy who stored classified documents, classified, possibly military secrets. We don't know that for sure, that those were the military. Classified documents, security issues of the United States stored in a bathroom with a window. Well, we put the boxes there in case the person needed to get away quickly. You could just climb on the boxes, step onto the toilet, and then up to the boxes, crawl along the boxes, and out the window. Oh my fucking God.
We are not quite in the middle of a presidential election period, but we're getting pretty close to that point. We're
irrelevant.
17 months away.
The only thing the DJ, yo, Mr. DJ, come do indictment. The only thing the DOJ has in terms of politics is you're not supposed to announce an indictment 6 months before a major election. Is it 6 weeks? I think it's 6 weeks. You're not supposed to do that, and we're not in that period, 6 months or 6 weeks. And the other thing is you're not supposed to charge a sitting president. And these are just memorandi.
You've got the first debate happening in August, and the primaries will get rolling in January, February, March, right? What is the response?
Wow, we're only 7 months away from the beginning of the primaries. You can't charge a guy running for
responsibility of the Attorney General, of the President of the United States, and the special counsel in this process to take into context the fact that we're dealing with the leading candidate in the Republican Party right now. And
irrelevant. Completely irrelevant.
And that the executive branch is bringing these charges against him.
Well, this is why I thought the reference to speedy trial provision was so interesting. I think that Smith would love former President Trump to go ahead and ask for a speedy trial. He could get this on the road and wrapped up before the election. I don't think that's going to happen.
He can still run for office in prison, by the way, which I hope he does. And I'd asked this earlier on Twitter today. It's interesting. Should he end up in prison? Does he run in order to pardon himself, or does he throw his support behind a Republican who promises to pardon him and therefore help determine the nominee, depending on when he ends up in jail? But if it's looking like he's going, does he make that deal? It's an interesting question. Let's pull up the Truth Socials and see how he's doing today. I suspect he's calm. He's probably wishing everybody a happy upcoming Father's Day. Okay, so this is a referral to John Yoo, who we just saw on the Fox News. Let's close up these for you guys. There we go. Bring it over. Okay, now you can see it. They are using these charges to go after the primary challenger, John Yoo, attorney, Fox News. Yeah, that's fine. That's totally allowed. Biden moved his boxes all over the place, including to Chinatown, and up to his lawyer's office in Boston. Why is deranged Jack Smith looking at that? Why isn't deranged Jack Smith looking at that? Also, I supplied them openly and without question. Well, apparently the charging papers are full of questions that he asked about how he could not cooperate. Security tape from Mar-a-Lago. I had nothing to hide, nor do I now. But he was hiding it all. Nobody said I wasn't allowed to look at the personal records that I brought with me from the White House. These aren't personal records. There's nothing wrong with that except for the crimes. Yeah. No, he's right. Is this, I don't know if that's a continuation. No, he just starts this off all by itself with 4 dots. Biden had records for years, totally unsecured, even stolen when he was a senator. No evidence of that. This is crazy. Just like, by the way, having those records, not a crime. Just like Jack Smith, Lisa Monaco, and the man they sent to the D office, Matt Colangelo, his former lawyer, it isn't America anymore. Under the Presidential Records Act, I'm allowed to do all of this. No, he is not. Under the Clinton Sox case, the decision is clear. No, it isn't. Actually, the Clinton Sox case, not his cat, Clinton Sox. Hold on, I'll come back. I'll explain that case very quickly here. So, Tom Fitton, who is the leader of Justice for America, just the Justice League of America, some right-wing nutso, he sues everybody. He's not a lawyer. He's not even a lawyer. He has been given Donald Trump advice about this case all along, not a lawyer. He sued, saying that President Clinton had to give back some tapes that apparently were kept in his sock drawer. I don't know whether they were or not. It could be like Hillary Clinton's server in the bathroom or Joe Biden hiding in the basement for his campaign, neither of which happened. But anyway, it's called the Sox case for whatever reason by the Republicans. Tom Fitton sued, saying NARA, the archives, had to take back those tapes that Clinton had made. However, under the Presidential Records Act, what happens is that anything that the president had during the White House, anything he came in contact with, papers, etc., that's public. except for things like diaries or memorandums of what happened, memoirs. So what Clinton did during his time in office, when something happened, he would pick up his tape recorder, he would say, well, today this happened, and I felt very bad about the whole situation, and I can't wait until we get to election day. That's a little joke I have with Monica. So those tapes were taken by President Clinton, which was just fine. Tom Fitton lost the case. NARA didn't want those records back because they understood those were personal memoirs by the president. None of these documents that Trump has taken that we know of are personal memoirs. So the Presidential Records Act doesn't apply at all. And also, not a crime in the Presidential Records Act, but it's a civil infraction. But it's not the case. We have the Espionage Act, and 31 counts apparently are from the Espionage Act. That's what he's talking about. That makes no sense. I'll just leave it up like this. The decision is clear. It is. There was no crime except for what the DOJ and FBI have been doing against me for years, except there's no crime there. There was one, this guy named Kevin, he was a lawyer. He omitted 3 words from a FISA application. That was a crime. He pleaded guilty. He got probation. So, there you go. So this is about Jack Smith. This is a man who caused the Lois Lerner catastrophe with the IRS. He went after evangelicals and great Americans of faith. Okay, maybe he did, which is fine. He was doing his job. The United States had to apologize and pay major damages for what this deranged lunatic did. I'm not sure. He had a unanimous loss in the Supreme Court. That happens. Most cases go to the Supreme Court are 9-0, one way or the other. His wife is a Trump hater. Why are we bringing her into this? And potentially putting her in danger. Just as he is a Trump hater. A deranged psycho, I don't know why that's in quotations, that shouldn't be involved in any case having to do with justice. Other than to look at Biden as a criminal, which he is. Oh, okay. Well, all right. So, Trump seems to be having a very normal day. Okay, and then this one was about his body man, Walt Nauta. I have just learned that the thugs from the Department of Injustice will be indicting a wonderful man, Walt Nauta, a member of the U.S. Navy, not anymore, who served proudly with me in the White House, retired as senior chief, and then transitioned into private life as a personal aide. He has done a fantastic job. They're trying to destroy his life. His lawyer apparently has already admitted that he lied to the investigative team, which is a crime. They're trying to destroy his life like the lives of so many others, hoping that he will say bad things about Trump. He is strong, brave, and a great patriot. The FBI and DOJ are corrupt! Okay, then his lawyers quit. And then before that, we didn't know that the indictment had been unsealed. So that all seems completely normal. Here's the indictment itself. This is, I've heard different lengths, but let's take a look and see exactly how long this is. There's some pictures. 41 pages, maybe? 42? Okay, so that's all stuff at the end. Okay. Oh, there's conversations. This is good. So let's call it 43 pages. Let's call it 44. Jack Smith signs it at the end. And, okay, so let's call it 43 pages. We'll take a look at those a little bit later. Hi, Phil. Trump throws everyone under the bus. Everything Trump touches dies, says Chris Wilson. Somebody said something, Kevin, it's been a long time. True, it has been a long time. I haven't been broadcasting that much. I've had pretty bad sciatica. So I need to broadcast more. YouTube is now like double taking away my probationary monetization. So anyway, that's something I've got to tackle as well. So we'll come back later and I will do sort of a straight reading of the indictment. And we'll cover that later on. Let's just for the fun of it, let's just check in and see what's happening with Fox News right now. Let's go live and see where they are. So what time of day is it? It's 12:51. I don't know what time the 5 comes on. I think like 2 o'clock. It's now coming up on 1 o'clock Pacific time. Let's just see where they are. Indictment alleges Trump showed docs to others who didn't have security clearance. Yep, you're not supposed to do that. Anyone involved from military on up knows that. Oh, and that's the end of the video camera. Am I still here? Sorry, guys. Okay, this is good a time to cut off. Is my mic still working? My mic's still working. Let's keep chugging along here. Oh, I'm back. Okay, hi.
Quick thought,
Is
Jess.
a very specific image that was not true. They first of all went in on a day when they knew he.
Wait, is this Jessica? Because she's good. Let's go back and watch this segment. Is this Jessica? Tell me this is Jessica. She doesn't have her glasses on.
Republicans. It's ridiculous.
She's like the lone voice of reason on Fox. I believe that's her. Yeah, let's watch it. Let's watch some of this. Let's keep going here. When does she come in here? This might be Jessica Tarloff, in which case, okay, I think that's where she comes in. Let's see.
So we have
I'll stick around for a while if she's going to talk, because she spits truth. Here we go.
panel standing by. Also with me here in New York City, former Utah Republican Congressman and House Oversight Chair Jason Chaffetz and Jessica Tarloff, co-host of The Five. Both are Fox News contributors.
Usually she wears glasses. I've seen her with glasses before. That's okay. Let's go with it. I would marry Jessica Tarloff if she was a different person and I was a different person and we were in love. Here we go.
Contributors, great to have both of you with us
is great.
today.
It's great to have one
Jess,
of them.
let me start with you. You hear what Mark has to say there. We have only heard one side of this case so far, and that is from Jack Smith, and it got through the grand jury, which is a lower
No, we've been hearing the other side of the case from Trump for quite a while now.
level of evidence that needs to be passed in order to get to the next stage, which would be a criminal trial.
It's not a lower level of evidence. It's less of a burden of proof, but okay.
In this case, what's your reaction to all of this today?
Well, listening to what Mark Levin was saying, and I know he was just on the phone, I'd hoped that he would be on air and we could see him and he could see what was going on the screen as he was talking, as you were panning over the photos that came out in the indictment of how these documents were kept.
Did she just say Mark Levin? Is that what she...
Listening to what Mark Levin was saying.
Mark Levin, sorry. Yes. Yes, that would have been great. Go on.
And I know he was just on the phone. I'd hoped that he would be on air and we could see him and he could see what was going on the screen as he was talking, as you were panning over the photos that came out in the indictment of how these documents were kept at Mar-a-Lago.
He's seen the indictment. He went through the whole thing.
I understand, but when you are saying, I can't believe, how is this happening? How is this possible? You know, in all of our history, that is...
It's a bathroom. And I can guarantee you that Trump is not cleaning that thing himself. Well, there is a lock on the door, to be fair. When someone is in there examining those documents without security clearance, they can lock the door. Unless it's one of those stupid houses with there's no lock on the bathroom. Come on, people. I go into one of those houses and there's no lock on the bathroom door. I'll figure out an excuse to leave. Because I am not going to the house of a stranger. Well, they're not a stranger. I'm not letting a stranger walk in on me as I'm peeing. That's what I'm saying.
Unprecedented. The way that those documents were stored, what's on that tape, him talking about the document, he runs his mouth and he ruins his chances at anyone who is not a diehard supporter being able to take his side in this. Everything that they've been trotting out for the last hour has just, the last year has been disproven. When you talk about that they were all stored properly, they were all declassified. Now he's on tape saying
So you feel
this
the
one
same
is
way about the one.
Wait, hold on. I believe that right there in the background, you can see there's like the shoes of a Secret Service agent, right? Like standing there somewhere. Maybe that's a guitar that belongs to a Secret Service agent. This is the storage room. The highly secure storage room. Just boxes thrown on the floor, just with Washington Post articles. I don't know what this is back here. A lampshade. Possibly a mandolin. That doesn't even look like a guitar. I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, that's the storage room. This is pure insanity.
That are behind the Corvette in the garage, right?
Well, the good thing about this is that Joe Biden has his own special counsel.
Absolutely.
And we'll
I'm
find
just
out
asking.
what's going on there.
You're as appalled by that scene as you are by this, right?
I want to see what it is. I want to know how those documents were treated. I want to know if he was talking about them, if he knew that he had them. And
Right. There's the big difference. Biden had no idea, from what we know, had no idea that there were classified documents in his garage. No idea. As soon as it was discovered, he immediately notified the FBI, his lawyers did, and searches were done. Yeah, have at it. Trump knew that he took these documents. He knew he wasn't allowed to have these documents. He knew they should be stored correctly. He did not do so. They were spread around Mar-a-Lago, as we've seen in these photographs. And he had the intent to share the documents, and he knowingly stored these documents in incorrect, unsecured locations, and then lied. Plus, he told the FBI when they showed up to search after the subpoena, not the raid, which wasn't a raid. He told the FBI people that they could see the storage room, which was unsecured, but they were not allowed to look in any boxes. That was the agreement that they had. So there were boxes in that storage room that had documents that Trump knew had classified documents, and he would not allow the FBI to look in the boxes and find the documents. We know that.
He was waving them around.
Whereas Biden was like, yeah, have at it. Go, please. Yeah, take it away. I don't want it. The intent. The Espionage Act is very clear about you have to knowingly take them, and not or. And you have to have the intent to disseminate, to keep, etc. That's retain.
If he was talking to random people about it, I mean, there was someone in the Mark Meadows conversation who said, now we're in trouble, right? This is something that people in his orbit knew was wrong.
And you know that they had a good laugh about that. Oh, you've showed this to me, now you have to kill me.
I hear everything you're saying.
Yeah.
I just,
She does hear everything she's saying. That is true.
I think in this country, because we have such an intense situation going on with all of this, and it's been going on for the past 8 years.
There it is under some pipes. There's some boxes with documents under some pipes. You know what that is? That's a fucking basement. You don't have pipes like that on the first floor or above. Not exposed pipes like that. That's a basement. Oh. If Trump had a Corvette, there would be boxes in the glove department.
It's very easy to jump ahead, right? And I'm just encouraging people. This is, by all
Trump is innocent until proven guilty.
accounts, Jonathan Turley, everybody else. So there's a lot in here, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot in here.
There is a lot in there, and it is extremely damning. That's what Jonathan Turley said.
And the grand jury did find that they want to move forward with the trial.
Possibly 2 grand juries found that. But yeah, that's also looks like a basement storeroom.
But we haven't heard the other side. That's all I'm saying.
I can't be sure, but you don't generally see... in a hotel like this, it could be above ground. I don't know if this is the one that flooded because it was below ground or not.
Yeah, we haven't heard the other side. I find these photos to be...
No, we've heard a lot of the other side. Oh, but Jason, please tell us, Republican Jason, what the photos say to you.
Gratuitous at best. I mean, for the FBI and
What?
In here, right? There's a lot in here.
You say gratuitous?
And the grand jury did
fortuitous?
find that they want to move forward with the trial. But we haven't heard the other side. That's all I'm saying.
Here we
Jason.
go.
Yeah, we haven't heard the other side. I find these photos to be gratuitous at best. I mean, for the
The photos of the evidence? Gratuitous at best? That the documents were not stored properly, and Trump had full knowledge of this, as we know from the indictment? That's gratuitous at best? Oh, Jason. Here's the thing. It's not too late for any of these people to walk away from Trump. Not too late. Now's a good time. Now's a very good time. He's going to say he didn't know what was in those boxes, but he knew. That's what we have witness testimony of.
FBI and the Department of Justice to put those photos out. Remember, Mar-a-Lago is not a place you can just go walk by and go check in.
Yeah, no, you can. Mar-a-Lago, as long as you've got, I mean, I'm sorry, but the ballroom with the boxes on the stage, you can rent that room.
These are protected by the United States Secret Service. And if you look...
No, they're not. The Secret Service does not protect documents. That's complete nonsense. The Secret Service does not protect those things. They keep the person safe. They don't look after the documents. That's a false narrative that's been going on. Somebody says it, they believe it. It's nonsense.
really closely at some of the photos that come on, the ones that spilled on the ground. Those are pictures of newspapers and of personal pictures of the president. That's not classified material right there.
I think there is
looks
some
bad.
You know, they're saying there's some in there.
But a lot of them were.
But what they're saying is those boxes themselves contain classified materials. They're not going to release classified materials in the indictment, Jason. This is an example of how the documents were kept. Okay?
Were turned back into the Department.
I love that the Washington Post is the main. Is that the Post? It looks like their masthead. Could be Examiner, if the Examiner is even a real paper.
Of Justice. I have a question for Donald Trump. Why not just?
Tracy's right. I think these interviews are just like Mad Libs, structured with a few facts. They pick everything else out of a thesaurus and then throw in Hunter Biden. Yeah.
Turn him back in.
Well, that is the question.
And
that is the question. And honestly, what I don't understand is I can't believe we live in a country where when you leave as president, there's not a system where they, I've said this before, but I mean, if you leave this building on your last day, they're going to see what you're taking out.
Clinton's walked out of.
Yeah, there is a system. There's a whole system for that sort of thing. It's already taken care of, so you don't have to believe that. Because there are procedures for all of this. And they do not involve stacking bank boxes in bathrooms. I promise you.
What are we doing? What are we
No,
doing?
no.
Allowed to drag this stuff out? All of these people.
So it's the government's fault for allowing Trump to take the boxes. Oh, the government should not have been dressed in that short skirt. The government had it coming, people. That's the argument from Martha.
Bring these documents out. I just find it absolutely
that's part
ridiculous.
Of what's so distinct about this particular case.
Thank you, Jessica. Let's let the grown-ups talk.
Because other people, yes, have walked out with documents, and when the National Records Office reaches out and says, hey, we think you have some of our stuff, they say, oh my God, and they return it. They then
Joe
don't go
Biden
on this.
never went through
but
that.
he never was. The second that Joe Biden
Hillary
was
bashed it with a hammer. She didn't say, oh my gosh, let me get it back.
I'm the one that signed.
Nonsense as well. You're supposed to destroy the phones. There's very little in the Hillary Clinton case that was actually wrong, including nothing. Nothing that Hillary Clinton did was illegal.
The documents for the subpoenas, for the preservation letters. I signed these, and these.
Are the Twitter comments not coming through? That's something I can't fix. Sorry, but thank you for letting me know.
Things are subpoenaed. They destroyed them. They did it at the IRS. They did it with Hillary Clinton. Nothing. Jack Smith gets out there and gives this speech. That's the speech that should have been given about Hillary Clinton.
Well, Jim Comey did come out and explain with Hillary Clinton that the intent was not there and that it was not gross negligence. That's the key, gross negligence. And they had discussions at the FBI with the FBI OLC, the Office of Legal Counsel, and said, can this be negligence or is this actually gross negligence? And they agreed it was not gross negligence. And then, as it turns out, after all was said and done, the FBI finally settled on, there was one email marked as classified, and even national security experts would not have known that email was marked as classified because it was marked incorrectly. First they said it was 3, and then they revised that down to 1, and then even the 3 that they were talking about, it was decided under sworn testimony that no, even national classified would not have known that was a classified email. So Hillary had no knowledge, had no intent of sharing any classified information. I mean, that's the difference. That's what we know now as fact.
But I've gone back now, and I think we all have, to read Comey's rationalization of why he didn't move forward with it. And we're
right. We're going
to have to talk a lot about whether you're careless or grossly negligent. And I think that we know.
I don't need to be here, guys. I'm just gonna take off. I'm just gonna play Jessica. You guys have a great afternoon. I'm gonna go for a walk or something.
Now, looking at this, and we'll see. He deserves his day in court, and he will
You
get
know what?
it.
Hold
And
on. I kind of want to hear it too. So I'll stick around if it's okay with you guys. I'll keep annoyingly interrupting. Here we go.
very happy that there was a grand jury that did this, because I hear nonstop that this is about Merrick Garland. This is about partisans. This is about people, his peers, and people in South Florida, which makes a big difference, because I hear constantly, he can't get a fair trial in New York. He can't get a fair trial in D.C. South Florida, that's his home. That's
From Americans.
DeSantis country, right? That's a
DeSantis country. It is DeSantis country. More and more every day now.
ruby red state now at this.
Marcy says Pence docs are available now. Pence, what are we talking about? The documents that he had, have they been declassified? Or are we talking about Pence's testimony?
At this point, who thought that it deserved to go forward with this indictment. It feels so dishonest, and I would like to believe, and I'll put it out there right now, if I see the same thing from Joe Biden, you better believe that I'll want him to drop out of the race, and we'll find someone else to run, and that he should go in front of that jury, and that they'll inevitably find him guilty of something.
Damn right. Thank you, Jessica. Judges agree.
Jessica, is that there's no, I don't think.
The grand jury testament? Testament. That's right. Testimony. Yeah. Okay. We'll take a look at that too. First, I'm just listening to Jessica. I'm just falling more in love with her by the minute. Like, I don't even have to know what she looks like. I don't care if there's hairspray involved. Just her wordings. Yeah.
Any American watching this process feels like there is the aggressive effort underway.
But if I did marry Jessica Tarloff, I'm, of course, saying this all in jest, but we would just sit across the table from each other, and this would be our conversation. Yeah, 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 right. And I know. Would you mind passing the salt? Is there not? Did I not season it well enough? No. I like a little extra salt. I mean, I thought, but still, though, yeah.
To answer the question.
Hi, Gallon.
That you just asked. And I think that is what has become so heartbreaking in all of this. People watch this thing. That thing's taking 4.5 years to go through Hunter Biden's laptop, and they had it sitting on a
that thing is taking 4.5 years. I don't know.
Shelf in the FBI for a long time and basically ignored it. And this thing is like, got the afterburners on it in 2 minutes. Now, I talked to Bill Barr about this. His take was that he said this is a simpler case in terms of these documents in this House, the way they were treated.
It is a very, very simple case from a simple man. Hunter Biden, if you were going to press charges, etc., if any of that is true, there's other things with Hunter, but anyway, yeah, if he's guilty, charge him. I don't care. I didn't vote for him. I never will. It involves people in other countries, and you have to get them to testify, which is not easy.
And the evidence they have. I mean, but I just think that I'm speaking for a lot of Americans who watch this and go, it feels like it doesn't work.
They came into Mar-a-Lago, which is protected by the United States Secret Service, with guns a-blazing, television cameras in tow. Did they go to the Penn Center where the classified documents for Joe Biden were? No, they didn't do that. Did they go to the Biden's house?
Because there was no suspicion of classified documents being any of those places. When they were found, they were immediately surrendered. There was no intent.
No, they didn't do that. And it wasn't protected at the time by the United States Secret Service, with guns a-blazing, television cameras in tow.
No guns were blazing.
Oh, did they go to the Penn Center where there
no television cameras?
Classified documents for Joe Biden were? No, they didn't do that. Did they go to the Biden's household? No, they didn't do that. And
well, no, they did go search the Biden household. They were invited to come and search the Biden household. What the fuck is Jason? Where do you live? The laptop, yeah, it is probably real. I mean, Hunter Biden's lawyers have asked for it back. So, yeah, it's probably really Hunter Biden's laptop. I've never said that it wasn't.
It wasn't protected at the time by the United States Secret Service.
Still some disagreement as to whether Hunter Biden's laptop is actually Hunter Biden's laptop. Doesn't matter. I don't care. It's a private citizen. If his laptop is there, there's nothing on it for all the dissemination of the information that's been supposedly on the supposed alleged Hunter Biden laptop. Nothing incriminates Joe Biden. Nothing.
So they did not do. And how did he, as a United States senator,
senators
pilfer
should not-
But, as Jessica said, if Joe Biden's guilty of something, fine, prosecute. As soon as he's done with his presidency, because he can't prosecute the president for some reason. Jessica and I were just talking about this last night over dinner. Biden, right? Yeah. Yeah. Right? Yes. Biden, yes. Hunter, though, right? I don't care. Right? 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 Right?
Not have any of these things in
None.
there. So let me ask you this, Jessica. Do you believe that there is the same aggression, the same effort going into figuring out if those documents that were at the house where Hunter lived, was he showing them to anybody? Did he share them with any of the people that he worked with in Ukraine or anywhere else? Was he promising them that he could sort of give them the inside scoop based on anything?
Well, you would look at those documents, see what they are, and you'd have clearance to do so, and see if they could in some way benefit foreign nationals. And if they couldn't, then why would you go further? If they could, then you would press further, and if there was any evidence, you would follow that up. There could be charges against Hunter tomorrow. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what the answer to these questions are, but do you really
Well, then just keep asking them.
believe that there's an aggressive investigation into those questions?
I don't know that there's an aggressive investigation into this. I do know that there's a special counsel investigating Biden, same as there's a special counsel investigating Trump. But I don't... What? Aggressive?
Well, I assume the special counsel who, and before today, everyone was fine.
Again, we had this discussion last night. Special counsel, right? 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 I know. Yeah, exactly. Right?
With both the special counsel and Joe Biden's case. Jack Smith had an unassailable reputation, and now I'm hearing that that's not the case anymore because he went and he found
that. Never believe
that. All right, I get, someone's mom, loved JFK, and suddenly they're not good enough, or someone's wife happens to be a Democrat, and then all they do is see red when they see Republicans. It's ridiculous. These are public servants who serve honorably for decades, and they deserve our respect for this. I truly believe that no one who works in the Department of Justice is happy about this happening. They weren't happy the day Alvin Bragg came out and did that. They don't want this. No one wants to change precedent. But the president...
Yeah, and Jack Smith's life has changed forever because of this. There's 33% of the country that will just frickin' loathe Jack Smith till the end of time because he is doing his job. Serving the United States. Protecting the national security of said United States.
President Donald Trump is demanding that things are different now because he has been so abusive to the rule of law here. And he ignored subpoenas. And
Mitt Romney said that the former president brought this on
Jessica was still speaking, Martha.
himself, Jason.
Well, I don't understand why he didn't just give the documents back, but I also don't.
Okay. Thank you, Jason. That is the first thing that Jason has said all day that doesn't make any sense. I can explain. I can understand why he didn't give the documents back. He knew he had them and he didn't want to. He's Trump. Okay? He thinks that rules don't apply to Trump. He refers to himself in the third person. And Trump wanted to keep his fancy documents. Now do you understand, Jason?
Don't understand why Hillary Clinton, on the very day she started her Senate confirmation, put up her own homebrewed computer, and then the FBI director comes in.
Put up her own homebrewed? What?
Out and says there was no intent to bypass the Federal Records Act. That thing was chock full of tens of thousands of documents, highly classified.
Emails, and not highly classified. We've looked into that. Again, there were 3 that were marked improperly. Then it turns out there was really 1, and it was marked improperly in such a way that nobody, not even national security experts, would have known that it was classified.
Again, when the FBI goes in to talk...
But again, Jason is within the right-wing bubble that doesn't care about the facts. Just one person says something, and they're all about, oh yeah, there's death panels.
To Hillary Clinton, they didn't even take notes. They were told to put their notes aside. Don't even take notes. Look at how different they treated Donald Trump with CNN in tow. Hey, let's go with guns a-blazing. Are you kidding me? No.
Well, you're kidding me, because there were no guns a-blazing. They didn't even announce it. CNN cameras in tow. No. Trump revealed the raid on Mar-a-Lago, not the DOJ. Trump announced the indictment, not the DOJ. Jesus Christ, Jason.
Nobody believes it's equally
First of all,
applied.
guns a-blazing is it?
I completely believe it's equally applied. There's a mountain of evidence now, 43 pages of Trump intentionally violating the law. There is no evidence that Hillary Clinton violated the Espionage Act.
A very specific image.
Intentionally.
That was not true. They first of all went in on a day when they knew he wouldn't be there to make sure that it was anticlimactic. They had ignored subpoenas, which is why this happens. And you talk all the time
Yeah, a judge approved this.
about all the subpoenas that you gave out. You know that they're
And
important.
none of them were enforced. None of the subpoenas that I issued as a duly issued subpoena from the United States Congress were they enforced.
Hillary?
None of
I don't know that Jason knows what that sounds like.
them.
Hillary Clinton, first of all, has paid in other ways
Oh, see, now, Jessica, don't go down the Hillary Clinton path.
for making that decision. The
Yeah, she's not president.
American public largely felt that
but
it was
either
improper.
the legal system and the rule of law are the same for everyone, or they're not.
Okay, right, the different
You
argument.
can't say, well, she lost an election.
But they
and,
did
she's had a
different
tough
things.
time.
And Colin Powell had a private server
She
too.
destroyed them. She destroyed them.
There
If
is
Donald
ev-
Trump had lit them on fire, would
Well,
that
Donald
make it?
Trump just wishes he had better lawyers. We got that on a
You
record
have the
now.
right.
Yeah, Donald Trump in the indictment apparently wished that, or is that in the indictment or not? I don't know. It's been such a day. Donald Trump was saying to his lawyers, hey, you know, Hillary Clinton's lawyers got her off. You know, that those Clinton lawyers did a really good job. Wish I had them.
To ask your attorney questions.
To
That's
say,
what
can
they're
you
supposed to
destroy
do.
evidence?
You
You have a
ask
right
it-
to do that?
You will ask your
All right, guys,
attorney.
I'm going to jump in. We got
Yeah, no, you can't ask your attorneys if you're going to destroy evidence. That's clear intentional destruction of property.
to go, but thank you very much,
Thank you.
Jessica Tarlov.
I like
Good
Jessica.
to we
still get along.
We all like each other. That's
Everyone's
we're
great.
trying to look. We're trying to figure out what's going on here. Jason Chaffetz, thank you. Great to.
I'm not trying to figure out. I know exactly what's going on. I'm having fun with this. Oh, and then we go to Turley. Now, let's see if Turley has changed his mind. We're going to go back to John Yoo in a second, too. And wait, did we watch that already? Did we cut in live? I think we did cut in live. So we've probably seen that because the three of them, yeah, I think we didn't see this commercial. Wait, let's see if I'm in this commercial break. I'm not seeing myself there. Let's go live because we might be on like one of the crazy shows. Deadline White House. If you want to really get into it and get some good information, check out Deadline White House. We're not going to. Okay, the 5 is in an hour. We're not going to stick around that long, I don't think. Neil Cavuto is. I'm gonna say he's a voice of reason on Fox still.
Nothing more.
A document or record. And
Here we go. Okay, so now we've had enough time for the news channels to disseminate some of this information. I should say compartmentalize some of this information and then disseminate them in nice news McNuggets. So let's take a look at that.
Charges in the 49-page indictment against the former president include willful retention of national defense information. This is counts 1 through 31, Neil. Conspiracy to obstruct justice, withholding a document or record, corruptly
Interestingly, only one count of conspiracy to obstruct justice, and that has to involve somebody else because it's conspiracy, and that might be Nada. I don't know if it was Walt Nada or not.
concealing a document or record and making false statements and representations. The indictment says various documents concerned White House intelligence briefings and maps, including, as you mentioned, a, quote, plan of attack against an unnamed country that Trump said was prepared for him by the Defense Department. It also says that Trump stored boxes containing classified information in a bathroom, a ballroom, a shower, an office space, a bedroom.
This says, I'm guessing master bedroom, but M-A-L, it looks like. I don't know. That's all the information I can glean from that. You're welcome.
And a storage room. According to the unsealed indictment against Trump, of the 102 classified documents seized by the FBI last summer, 17 were marked top secret, 54 marked secret, 31 were marked confidential. Now, earlier we learned there were
102 documents. seized in the so-called raid, which wasn't a raid, in the legally mandated search and seizure of the documents. There's 102. Does that add up? Well, it's 51, so 85. So that doesn't add up. So, but there might have been other levels of classification as well. So that's really not germane.
Members of Trump's legal team say they've resigned. Jim Trusty and John Rowley. Now,
Yes.
a close aide to the former president, Walt Nata.
And they put out a statement saying, no, it made sense right now to resign. This seemed to be the natural transition between us working for Trump and not working for him anymore after the evidence comes out that he lied to his lawyers.
Who is named in the indictment as a co-conspirator in part.
What was great is that Trusty was on the air this morning with George Stephanopoulos. He was also on Fox and Friends. I haven't watched it, but we can watch it if you guys want to watch some Fox and Friends from this morning before all of the indictment came out. But anyway, Trusty was on the air, and the right, I woke up this morning, and Mar-a-Lago bedroom, thank you, Marcy. Thank you, Stephanie. I'm not that smart. So... What, Mar-a-Lago bedroom, and it ended up in the bathroom. Mar-a-Lago bedroom, but Mar-a-Lago has like 20 bedrooms. I don't know. Anyway, you're probably right. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So the right, when I woke up this morning, I checked out the Twitters, and the right was, oh, look at this. Trusty, Trump's lawyer, just eviscerates George Stephanopoulos this morning. And George was completely, just flabbergasted by what Trump's lawyer Trusty was saying. And then, like 20 minutes later, Trusty resigned.
Part for not being truthful about the possession of those classified documents, Neil. Now, former President Trump will make his first court appearance in a Miami federal courtroom on Tuesday at 3 p.m. He is the first former president in U.S. history to be charged with a crime. This is the second time Trump has been indicted since March, Neil.
You know, Lucas, it's very interesting. The president's legal team, and you're referring to it, they said they resigned. The president seemed to make it clear, or Donald Trump made it clear, I'm referring to him, that he had formed a new team and that they were forced out.
No. I don't know, because it's weird that Trusty would be on the air this morning and then decide to resign right after that. So it may have been a force out. It may not have been. I don't know what Trusty said in the last couple of days that Trump was unhappy with, but Trusty was on the air quite a bit. He was on yesterday with CNN with, what's her face? Brittany Griner. It's not it. The one with the perfect hair that gives us all hope. Anyway, he was on Caitlyn, not Jenner. I'm sorry, guys. You know, Caitlyn with the perfect hair. That's a Beyonce song. Here we go.
I'm not quite sure what's accurate here. What happened? Did they quit or were they dumped?
Well, Neil, the attorneys say they resigned, and President Trump did not say he fired them. In fact, in this statement...
So what happened there is the attorney said something to Trump. Trump said, I'm not willing to do that. And the attorney's like, we're not willing to defend you anymore. Thank you. That's just an educated guess.
By the former...
Amber says it's possible it's a bathroom within a master bedroom. We're all right. I like you, Ember. That's correct. That is possible. It's possible everyone is right.
Attorneys, they say they support the president. Right. They think these charges against him are unjust. So they were full-throated in support of the president. It made it sound like the reason they were leaving was because this...
You know, when people say full-throated, I often think they're gagging on something. And I don't want to picture that. I mean, honestly, if it was Trump, it wouldn't be a very full throat. But let's just move on, people.
Court cases based in
You're disgusting.
Miami, and they wanted some more different representation.
All right, and we should add that the president did say, truth, so I want to thank Jim Trusty and John Rowley for their work, but they were up against a very dishonest, corrupt, evil, and sick group of people, the likes of which has not been seen before. We will be announcing additional lawyers in the coming days. When will Joe Biden be invited for his many crimes?
That's an excellent question, Schulte. Will he be pardoned? Will the Republican nominee... See, the Republican nominee, and I've talked about this a little bit before, Trump's going to run. If he loses the nomination, he's going to run third party, unless he can cut a deal with someone for a pardon, and then that becomes the biggest political issue. Do we elect somebody who's going to pardon the president for crimes he committed against the American, not just, oh, you know what, I stole a car, but a crimes against the United States of America. The case is called the United States of America versus Donald J. Trump. Kind of glad I still have my Canadian citizenship if need be.
Crimes against our nation, MAGA. And so it went. Andy McCarthy on all of this.
MAGA, and so it went.
The former assistant U.S. attorney, Fox News contributor. Andy,
Andy was not kind this morning. Let's see where Andy's at now.
Fast-moving chess pieces changing, notwithstanding. What do you make of the counts and the fact that they seem to focus on more than the volume of documents and whether the former president was being accurate about what he had and when he had it, but the way they were handled and the way he shared them?
Yeah, I think it's that, Neil, and also the supplement to that is there's more information in the indictment than I ever would have expected about the serious secret nature of these documents. And obviously this is a charging instrument that's highly unusual in that it's both a political document and a legal document. As to the latter, it has to perform its task of not only giving the defendant notice of what the charges are, but making it clear to the public that these are very serious charges because they know there's going to be pushback about whether they have, violated an important American norm of not using the incumbent government's police powers against
There's never been a case where you had to.
Political opponents. And I think the other political angle for Biden that he has to worry about is he has his own classified information issues. And they are going to want to make the point that Trump is worthy of prosecution, but Biden isn't because Trump's behavior.
Yeah, the next shoe to drop will be likely the special counsel for investigating Biden having a brief press conference and then not taking questions, and the right will go insane. But again, there has to be intent.
Involved very serious information and willful activity that was designed to both deceive the government and deceive the grand jury. They want to contrast that with Biden by arguing that Biden, even though perhaps he shouldn't have had these documents, at least when he found them, they reported it to the government. They were cooperative. They consented to allow the FBI to search the home, so there was no need to get a search warrant and that sort of thing. So the legal purpose and the political purpose, that's what this document's about.
Andy, the former president is on Truth Social, his site here, talking about these images we have of these documents, saying, strange, everything about the boxes was so neat, orderly, and clean. Did the FBI tip over the one box the way they staged the papers on the floor during the raid of Mar-a-Lago, only to apologize after getting caught? He seems to be saying here that
they came to me and they begged. They got on their hands and their knees and they begged and they had tears in their eyes. They were crying and they never cried before in their lives. And they were saying, sir, we're so sorry we tipped over your boxes. Please let us prosecute you.
We're fine when we had them here, suddenly not fine when they appear now in this long list of evidence in this revelation. What do you make?
Still want to know what this is back here. Lampshade? Hat? I don't know.
I think this gets to the point that you started with, Neil, which is why the president doesn't seem to retain lawyers for very long. And I understand the idea that the case is now in Miami rather than where his lawyers are in Washington, but he's a very difficult client, and this is why. That's not an issue. I mean, whether they.
I never thought I'd say it, but thank you, Andy.
Play documents around. I'm not saying they should do that, but in the greater scheme of things, he's focused on the trivial. And in the meantime, you have very substantial charges here that involve hoarding documents willfully under circumstances where they were trying to get them back. The allegation, the indictment is a very readable narrative document. And it tells a story of his not only deceiving the government, but deceiving his own lawyers in order to deceive the government. And
asking his lawyers to deceive the government, which is a huge no-no.
Very serious allegation of obstruction of justice which
Yes.
hurts his ability to argue that he's being singled out, because I think what the government would say is that anybody who provided false information under oath to a grand jury would be prosecuted.
How is Andy being allowed on Fox News today? I cannot wait for Outnumbered. I'm going to have to. It's a half an hour away. You know what? I might stop and then come back for Outnumbered. I don't know that we're ever going to read the indictment. Wow.
So, to my mind, if I'm representing him, I would ask him to please stop saying things. I know that ship has sailed, but he kind of has this tendency to seize on the trivial. I think,
Does he?
you know, when he said that he had declassified everything and made a big to-do out of that, declassification's not a defense here. Even if he did declassify the documents, which there's no evidence of, the Espionage Act doesn't talk about classified information. It talks about national defense information. So even if he declassified everything, if he's got national defense information, he can be prosecuted under the...
Yeah, it doesn't have to be classified. Any of the documents that belong to the government don't have to be classified. The defense documents have their own classifications. Top secret or not, you cannot share defense information. I'm not going to go into it. So this is a memorandum opinion. So this has got to be from the Mike Pence document. And this would be Judge Baisberg. It was a redacted document related to the subpoena and grand jury testimony of Mike Pence. So I'm guessing this is not his testimony in the Trump Mar-a-Lago case, but rather in the investigation into Mike Pence's possession of documents. Memorandum opinion. So this is the summary. The special counsel's investigation into interference with the transfer of power following the 2020 presidential... Oh, no! I'm totally wrong. This is into the January 6th. Okay. Here we go. The special counsel's investigation into interference with the transfer of power following the 2020 presidential election, January 6, proceeds behind doors that remain closed to the public. Sorry. So the investigation still is ongoing. I'm not sure what this document is. Recently, however, former Vice President Michael R. Pence nudged them ajar, the closed doors to the public, when he revealed in a series of public statements that the grand jury had subpoenaed him, that he had initially refused to testify, we knew that, and that this court had stepped in to referee the resulting constitutional dispute. Seizing on these revelations, a set of news organizations has asked the court to disclose opinions, filings, and hearing transcripts related to Pence's privilege claim. Although the government objects, the court will grant the request in part, but with substantial redactions to preserve grand jury secrecy. Okay, so that's what this document is. I should have read it and then commented because, not like me to jump the gun. Guns should not be allowed. So this is Pence's fight to not have to testify, and then there were freedom of information requests from CNN et al. Trying to get the information, and this is some of that information. Let's take a look at it. Let's see. These are public docs. Background. Special counsel Jack Smith is conducting 2 investigations. This is about January 6th. Then it mentions a couple of articles about that investigation. Pence made public statements. We've probably aware of those. The press has asked legal framework. Okay, so this is all. We're not getting to the meat yet. This is just the justification for releasing parts of his testimony or whatever. We'll keep going. Let's see if there's actually any meat to this. So we're still on the justification for releasing certain material. I don't think the material is here because I'm almost at the end of for foregoing reasons, the court will grant in part and deny in part the press's application. A separate order so starting will issue this day. So this is not the information. This is just the court order explaining, yeah, we're going to let you guys see some of it, release some of it to the public, and when some of it we're not. So if someone sees the information of Mike Pence's, not so much testimony, but his reasons for not wanting to share the testimony to follow the subpoena is what I'm understanding here. I don't know for sure. But there they are. Thank you, Marcy, for that. Let's see if Kyle Cheney has an update on that. He's with Political. Now addressing DOJ. One set of laws. They apply to everybody. Special counsel news. Okay, so that's what we just read. And there's a link to the indictment. Okay, so let's close that for now. We'll bring Twitter over here again. And thanks, everyone, for sticking around. UN Owen says, Trump charged with espionage? No. He's charged under the Espionage Act. There's nothing that I've seen so far that would indicate spying or espionage, but it's all under the same umbrella. Let's go. Let's just jump in on them live and see where they are. It's probably a commercial. No? Okay.
Our goal is a cleaner.
It is.
I'm going so far to say if they became president.
Okay. How is this
making families pay a lot more in what?
They are being unfair to him, that there is a double standard. Some going so far to say if they became president, they'd pardon him.
Here we go. That was quick.
To this.
Elites. Now that we...
Oh, okay, so they're going to tease that and then come back. Here we go. So these are how the other candidates, this is how the other candidates are responding. Again, there's that percentage of the Republican Party. I'm going to say it's 48%. I don't know. It goes back and forth. But there's that 32% of the country that's going to stick with Trump no matter what. What percentage of that is the base of the Republican Party? I don't know. The Republican Party itself is only about 28-29% of the country. So you've got that percentage. It's a lot of the Republicans. If you're still a Republican after 4 years of Trump and then 2 years of this, wow. So you might be considered base. The rest of that jungle of candidates, they are grasping at every tree that they can because there's no wiggle room in there, but they have to get that base. Thanks, Babe. Hi, Libby.
Well,
none of them have any chance whatsoever without that base. Not in the general. They also, because there's so many of them now and there's going to be more, they also have no chance against Trump. Even if Trump is indicted, which he is, even if he's convicted, they still have no chance against Trump. So they have to peel off some of that base, but they can't win the general without the complete base. And that will be the quid pro quo for the pardon.
Stood together after Alvin Bragg prosecuted the former president, indicted him on criminal charges. They did it again today with Jack Smith on these latest federal charges, first time.
So we have here in the bottom section, Pence, Elder, Hutchinson, that's Ada, Christie, and Burgum? Right now, Burgum is polling at who percent?
Events for a former president, regardless. But are those candidates all on the same page when it comes to supporting him?
Burgum? Anybody? Burgum. V-O-O. Voo. Do.
For the long haul. We shall see. With the exception of Asa Hutchinson, most are sticking by the former president. Alexis McAdams has more from Greensboro, South Carolina. Alexis.
It will be interesting to see who shows up for the indictment or the arraignment or whatever you want to call it at that point. It's just he's been summoned on Tuesday at noon. I believe that's the time. It'll be interesting to see who shows up if some of the other candidates show up pandering for Trump's base. I support President Trump, but not endorsing him as a candidate.
Hi, Neil. Good evening. Well, this room will soon be packed because Florida Governor Ron DeSantis...
Guys, whose voice does she have? She has someone's voice. It's not hers. I mean, she shares the voice with somebody. I don't know if she's borrowing it for the day or if it's a rental situation, but she's got somebody's voice.
This will be on that stage behind me at the North Carolina GOP convention here in Greensboro, but really the hot topic right now is former President Trump's...
Is it, though?
Indictment, which really isn't surprising. And voters here and conservatives I talked to, Neil, tell me it's not shocking either. Listen.
Nothing on Hillary. Nothing on on Biden. Just Trump, and I'm sick of it.
I was not surprised. I think when he came down the golden elevator, the DOJ was
Escalator.
waiting for him, and he's loved the fight every minute of it.
Oh yeah, he seems to love it.
And it's not just the talk
really seems to relish this fight
amongst voters, but also the growing field of Republican presidential candidates. Some are divided on the issue, Neil, like you mentioned.
Oh, come on, go back. All I want to do is see Trump interviews with Megadonia.
DeSantis has vowed that a DeSantis administration would bring accountability to the DOJ, and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley said today that this is just not how justice should be pursued in our country. Trump's former running mate turned rival now, Mike Pence, says no one is above the law, but says let's let the facts play out.
Okay, that's fine. The other day, though, on CNN, he said we shouldn't charge an ex-president. We should have some other form of something but there's got to be equal justice for all. But he should have a different thing with the... Some is more equal than others.
The former president, like every American, is entitled to the presumption of innocence.
Yes, that's true. And then what? Then what did he say? That's it? That's what he said?
But former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson has called on Trump to drop out of the race. He's the only one at this time out of the main crew here, while Vivek Ramaswamy has promised to pardon the former president if he's elected. This comes as those three big GOP names will take the stage for the North Carolina GOP convention here where I am now. DeSantis speaks tonight. Pence and Trump speak tomorrow at separate events. Today, President Joe Biden also...
We'll try and tune into that if we can.
In the state, his re-election team is focused on buying more campaign ads, Neil, in the Tar Heel state, which back out here live, voters tell us it shows just how important.
Look at Joe Biden sitting in his basement.
North Carolina is on that path to win the White House. As I mentioned, right over my shoulders, we will see Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. We'll have to see what he has to say in person.
I honestly don't care
about this Trump indictment. We'll keep you posted. Neil, back to you.
Yeah, I might.
He's going to blame the woke GOP. No, FBI. No, DOJ. No, ADA. I don't know.
I missed that. Has Ron DeSantis commented on this one way or the other? I mean, what has he said?
He did, yeah. He hasn't talked yet on camera, so we're hoping to grab him. Hopefully we can get a poll aside.
Nobody knows whose voice she has. Whose voice does she have? She has someone's voice.
With him, but yeah, he just said that this is not really how this should go. He thinks that the...
You guys might be like 10 minutes behind me. That's weird. I'm looking at the live feed right now, and something's wrong.
DOJ is weaponized, and he said if he's the president, actually said when he's the president, Neil, he'll make sure to change that.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Alexis. Bob Cusack, the Hill editor-in-chief. So, Bob, that's why I wanted to clarify that with Alexis.
No, you guys are in real time. The screen hadn't refreshed.
It seems to me that Asa Hutchinson is the only one of those candidates right now, and he echoed this after the Alvin Bragg indictments, that the president should step down for the good of the party.
Yes.
So what do you make of that?
And he's right. He's the only one of them that's right. Trump is about and will always be about Trump. So, if it looks like he's losing the nomination, he will bow out with excuses, and he will run third party. He will absolutely do that. I have no doubt in my mind. I've been wrong before. I was wrong about something recently. The big one, I was wrong about Ukraine. I thought that war would be over quickly, just like everybody else did. And look at them now. Now they're on the offensive. We think. We don't know. Yeah, so I'm going to bow out for now. I might come back in a little while and do Outnumbered. I do want to read through that indictment later, so I'll do that with you guys if that's it. If I decide to, or I do it. I don't know. I got a lot of other stuff to do, but I've kind of pushed everything off today. There's one thing I had to do that I couldn't get out of, but we'll be back later. So it feels good to live stream again. Good to see you. Thanks very much, everybody. And thanks, everybody, who keeps this live stream going. That hasn't been going for quite a while, so I really do appreciate it. We'll be back later. And we will definitely try and cover tomorrow. If anybody figures out where the North Carolina GOP convention tomorrow with Trump and Pence speaking is going to be broadcast, shoot me a tweet or a follow or whatever, and we'll figure it out. Thanks, guys. Be good to yourselves, be good to others. Most importantly, enjoy today.